Welcome back, and we're here again with Steve Hall, our holistic coach. More of the series on living a life of value and meaning. And today the topic is how to turn on the most powerful part of yourself you're not aware of. So Steve, over to you. How do we tune into our power?
Yes, thank you, Linda. It's a great question. And I suppose the question in everyone's mind might be, what is that power you're talking about to start off with? You know, if I'm unaware of it, where has it been and what is it? What does it look like? And it's what I've learned along the journey is our mind, you know, who we are. It's consciousness, but it's also a subconscious part of ourselves. And the conscious is only like less than 20% of the power of our mind. Most of it is subconscious. So it's, if you imagine it like a captain of a ship, you know, he's the conscious part. He can see where the ship needs to go. He's aware of everything. All these senses are giving him the information. And the subconscious is all the crew underneath, you know, in the bowels of the ship, you know, they're running the motors and steering the ship and everything. And they operate on communication from the captain to know what to do. Everything the captain says, they take it as an order and they just do what they're told. And that's their job. But it's really the crew underneath that is the power of the ship that, you know, gets it all running and takes it where it wants to go. So that's the analogy of the most powerful part within us is our subconscious. But because it's subconscious, we're not aware of it. And so how do we get that to work with us instead of against us? Because a lot of us are in lives where we may feel like we're stuck. We don't have any choice in where the ship's going, for example. And it's like, well, how do we change direction? How can we change course if it's, you know, it seems to be taking us a direction we're not wanting to be in? And that's what the most powerful part of us is.
Yes, because as people said, many people do feel they don't have a choice in life. So how would you say, what would you say to that? I know you said that you take charge of the ship. When they feel like they haven't got a choice, now what would you say to that?
Look, really great question, because you get stuck in life and it can seem like life and death. It's really important, but you think there's nothing you can do. The situation means I've got no choice. I'm stuck. And that's when you become a victim. You know, I'm powerless to change my life. And that's a terrible place to be in. So I really sympathise or empathise with people who have that feeling. I know what that's like. But it's one thing that I learnt through my journey is there is always a choice. And it's not the choice that was scaring me so much as the consequences of if I took a choice. I think we've really only got three choices in life, and we can accept something, we can change it, or we can let it go. But we might not like the outcome we're imagining out of any of those choices. So sometimes we do nothing and we think, no, we've got no choice. We've got to ride this out and wait for something to change, which is sometimes it's not going to happen until you make a choice. So that's what I'm talking about. The choice is there, and it's more about how can I learn to exercise those choices safely and take some control in the choice itself.
So the advice from that, you mentioned letting go. What is letting go? How do we do that?
Well, letting go is, you know, we've got a past and we've got a future and we've got a now that we're living in. And quite often we can get stuck in the past, in the story of the past, because once it's past, it is past. It really only exists in our mind as a bunch of neural pathways and some energy. That's all that's left over, but it's real inside our mind. And that can control, you know, what we do from here on in. So letting it go is deep breath, a little bit of mindfulness, but it's like identifying that happened to me how many years ago now? Yeah, it was bad, but it's gone now, you know. It's like breathe that in. It's not hurting me now. We have a tendency to take those situations and emotions that happened then and we apply it to everything that could happen in the future. So it's blanket across everything, and so we feel stuck. We've got those emotions, we feel them, they feel very real, but they're holding us in place. And that's a case of a memory from the past affecting our future. So it's like, let it go, acknowledge it's there, and yeah, it was hard, but you're past that now, you've learned from it. And the situation in the future is different to the situation in the past. And you're now got the experience from the past, you can use that too to take yourself more safely into the future. But it's like, let it go. Just go, that's gone. It's not serving me any longer to be controlled by that.
And no doubt there's a whole bunch of tools and tips that can be used to help that
Absolutely.
release or that letting go.
Yeah, there's some simple ones though that you can use right now, and that's our subconscious. Like, got to remember, they're the ship's crew, right? They operate on orders. So everything that our consciousness, and I'm pointing to my brain here, that's where I think it is. Whenever it's self-critical of the stuff I do, and that was a lot in the past, you know, like I was very judgmental about myself. But my subconscious takes all that in. And so the trick to turning the ship and letting something go is having positive language. You know, especially as an Australian, I used to criticise myself in a joking way, thinking, oh, that's all right, I'm just mucking about, oh, I'm an idiot. My subconscious is going, he's an idiot. Let's connect into a reality where he is one. And it listens to us, and it takes me into more situations like that. But if I go, oh, I can see I've made a mistake there, well, I'll fail forwards. I'll learn from that, and I'll use that learning to go, I'm not an idiot, I've just learned something. Well, let's change the language that we're saying all the time. So I would say if you want to start, you know, turning your ship, using your subconscious, turning your power on, catch yourself how many times during a day are you consciously aware that you've been critical of yourself, and how many times have you been complimentary or compassionate to yourself. And just keep going until the second one is higher than the first one. And that's something everyone can do.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you so much. And for more on Steve Hall and living a life of value and meaning, specifically those fears that come up for us and our relationship with them, then please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And for now, we'll say bye-bye until next week.